Welcome back to Under the Sink Light. This week is Peasant Bread. So we're going to start off with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Again, like always, they don't have to be exactly level, just kind of shake off the excess. And we're just going to roll with that. Bread is pretty forgiving, so a little bit under or a little bit over isn't going to make too big of a difference. Then we're using a 1/2 teaspoon measuring, but we're going to be doing 1.5 teaspoon measurements, minus the salt. The recipe is for 1.5 teaspoons, but I figured just 1 teaspoon this time because I'm using kosher salt. But if you still would like to do 1.5 teaspoons, that's totally up to you. It does not alter the taste of the bread that much. And then we're saving dishes, so we're just going to brush that off. We're going to get 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. I really like using this Fleischmann's brand. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it usually is pretty good quality. I keep it in the fridge so it lasts a little longer since I'm not always making bread. And then we're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of just regular white sugar. And for our water, it's going to be 1.5 to 1 3/4 cup of warm water. I always err on the side of doing 1 3/4 cup just because I've made this a number of times before and I know that works for me. But go ahead and start with 1.5 cups for your first time making it, and then if you need that extra 1/4 cup, you can go ahead and add it. And then we're just going to mix it until it is all combined. You want to make especially sure to scrape underneath to make sure there's no dry pockets. Otherwise they will bake into the bread and you'll end up having a pocket of flour when you cut it open. So just like a shaggy mix like this, and then we're going to put a warm, damp tea towel over the top. And this is going to rest for 2 hours. So after that hour, we're going to go ahead and grease our pan with pan spray, butter, shortening, whatever you prefer, go for it. And then here's what we're looking at after that hour. It might stick a little, but you can just kind of pull it off of the towel. And that's what our 1 hour rise looks like. It doubles in size and kind of fills up the bowl. We're just going to scrape it down from the sides of the bowl and from underneath it. And then we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of oil and coat the dough in it. You can definitely use a little bit less if you want to, or if you want to use a different oil, but I wouldn't skip this because it does help the bread come out nice and crispy. I always get a little bit onto the spatula first so the dough doesn't stick to it, and then I just kind of toss it around the bowl like I did when I was scraping it from the sides, just to get it all coated. This way all parts of the dough have a little bit of oil on them, and it'll slide out of the pan nice and easy after it's baked. Alright, and then we're just going to plop it right into the pan. It's just a regular loaf pan. I think this one is a little longer than standard, but you can use a standard as well. It'll just bake up a little taller. And then we put that warm, damp towel back on top, and it's going to rest for another hour. And about 30 minutes in, you want to preheat your oven to 375. That way it'll be nice and ready once your dough has rested to go straight into the oven. And just like before, it might stick to the towel a little bit, but usually you can kind of peel it right off. This might mean that the towel's not damp enough, or if you prefer, you can always use saran wrap with a little bit of pan spray on it instead. But I do this for the added warmth, just because it's still kind of cold in my kitchen, so I want to make sure it has as much help as possible. And then after that, it's going to go into the oven for 45 minutes exactly. Here's how she looks. And this is right out of the oven. You can slide it right out of the pan just that easily. That's what that oil is for, and that's why we spray our pan. And then you want to let it cool for at least 30 minutes before you cut into it. And then here's our final result. And then, of course, the inside crumb. And then here's that recipe for you all, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.